Everybody, welcome to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid with Dalton Johnson. I'm Kerith Burke. We are processing the fact that the Warriors beat the #1 team in the East, the team with the best record in the NBA, but also processing some micro things in this game. The Warriors led after 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. It was tied after 4. That's why we needed overtime, but they won in overtime, outscoring the Bucks 14-5. And I happened to be in the Warriors tunnel post-game. I heard Steph Curry say, "Big win. We needed it." How do you capture how important this W was?
It was huge. I mean, you talked about, the Bucks have been the best team in basketball. They don't have Giannis. The Warriors don't have Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, GP2, etc. So both teams were missing key pieces, but you could see the intensity turn up, the volume turn up when it mattered most, right? So it felt like maybe the most of a litmus test, most of a playoff atmosphere that we've had all season long. And to do it in the fourth quarter, do it in overtime, do it with defense, obviously Steph Curry too, but that to me showed a different kind of grit that we haven't seen from this Golden State team this season.
But wasn't the score at the first time out 4-4? We're kind of looking at each
Right,
other
exactly,
like, oh,
yes,
this is going to be a defensive game, which is good.
Yeah.
And then teams really start to settle in. The defense was locked in the whole game, which I think would be the most important thing for the Warriors. Looking at this box score, there were no 40-point quarters for an opponent. That's great.
It is, again, but I think the key to me is what you said right away is the fact that they led after the first quarter. That is so big. It was the first time that they have led after the first quarter in exactly 1 month.
That's wild.
The last time was February 11th when they led by 1 point against the Lakers. They led by 2 this time against the Bucks. And it wasn't a Steph Curry first quarter or a Klay Thompson or a Jordan Poole. It was a JaMychal Green first quarter.
Yeah.
11 huge points in just under 6 minutes in the first quarter, so that set a tone that they could clamp down, that they could get other pieces involved right away. And then obviously it was later in the game with guys like Steph and Klay. But again, to not have to dig out of a hole early on puts him in such a better position the rest of the game.
Yeah, to give J-Mike his props real quick, he was the leading scorer at halftime with 13. He had more than Steph and Klay combined. At that point. They needed him early on. But let's talk about that Steph Curry guy. 36 points. He's led every single game since he's come back from missing that 11 with his lower leg injury. I think his play of the game, and you can debate me on this because he had amazing buckets, was the block on Drew Holiday to prevent what could have been the game-winning layup, and then his roar at the end of this game. Just what did you think about the way Steph Curry turned on in the fourth quarter and overtime?
The sequence that you just talked about, the block, the shot right before that, to have those be back and forth is just unbelievable. Look at the finish right here. Right down to the wire in the fourth quarter. Look, with 1 minute and 55 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Steph Curry was at 16 points.
Then what happens?
He finished with 36. 29 of those 36 points are with the second half and overtime combined. Winning time is Steph Curry time.
Yeah.
Number 30, again, showed us that he is 1 of 1. Look at that intensity right there. That's what you love back on the home court at Chase Center. This was a Steph Curry masterclass.
For sure. Any game where Steph Curry can roar like that, and I'm wondering if the mouthpiece is going to fly out of his mouth. Amazing. Played 43 minutes tonight. They needed that MVP caliber Steph, and they absolutely got it. Okay, there's one more guy that we need to spotlight. It's Donte DiVincenzo, actually. So anytime a guy plays his old team, there's a little bit of juice there. How about 20 points, 10 rebounds, a season-high 6 threes, 2 steals, a block, that kind of thing. But Donte was everywhere in this game, and I think this one meant a little more to him.
It does. I remember when the Warriors were going to Milwaukee back in December, I talked with Donte about going back to that, and he said, he gave his appreciation to Milwaukee, to the front office, the teammates, the fans, and said, look, no matter what team I play for, they always give me my first opportunity.
Yeah.
But there's an extra juice going against them.
Yeah.
You saw it tonight. Look at it just stuffs the stat sheet right there. The numbers speak for themselves. The eye test fit the advanced numbers. He was a plus 17 and plus minus. But this starting lineup of Steph, Klay, Donte, Draymond, and Kevon Looney, they together were a plus 23. They absolutely outplayed the Milwaukee Bucks. They did it all. They were able to score at the rim and behind the three-point line too. And Donte all season has been this glue guy. And I think tonight was just the prime example of it, where whatever you need from Donte DiVincenzo, he's going to give it to you.
Yeah, he can be really unsung sometimes, but not lately, I don't think.
No, not at all. And not
lately.
to Steve Kerr.
Right.
Because we keep asking asking him, like, what has he brought to you guys?
Yeah.
Why has he been so important? And he's reminding us that, hey, this isn't anything new. This has been all season. He had that funky start because of an injury early on.
The hamstring,
so then yeah, exactly. So then he had to try to find his rhythm. And ever since then, I mean, he has just been an absolute warrior. Like, to the T to me, right? Look at that, Ryder, no big deal.
Ding, ding.
But again, he's been exactly what they've needed all season, what they could have hoped for in free agency, and even more. So 1,000%, I think that this game meant a little bit more for him. And he very much did say, hey, you could feel the atmosphere in here, and he loved it. I think he really thrived in that fourth quarter. In the overtime, there's a reason that he closed. There's a reason he played all of overtime. Because Steve Kerr, the Warriors teammates, they trust Donte DiVincenzo.
We're going to talk about Kerr's decision to play Donte at the finish instead of a different player. I asked Donte at the end of this game, post-game that is, like, how familiar do the Bucks still feel to you? And he said, they're family. They're like family. Like, he always speaks well of the Bucks. He said, I didn't really want to talk to them during the game while we were playing. But yeah, he has a great appreciation for what they meant in his career. And now his career is kind of taking a new shape with Golden State. All right, Klay Thompson, also in the starting lineup. Gee whiz. 22 points for Klay. His night actually started on a really awesome note. We want to show you some video pregame of Klay interacting with a 15-year-old named Braulio Noriega. Okay, he's from Santa Rosa, and Klay gifted Noriega a brand new wheelchair. This is awesome. Noriega plays with the Junior Road Warriors, so he's a competitive basketball player. Here he is learning that he's gonna get this new custom chair in disbelief. It just helps him fulfill his dream of playing in college and then eventually representing his home country of Mexico. So beautiful moment right there. I will never forget his smile. And let's hear from Klay Thompson after his 22-point night, because he just sat down at the podium.
I guess just what do you think of Steph, the final, 7 minutes of this game?
Just willing us to victory with his shot making and his penetration. Never season amazes me with what he can do with the ball in his hands, and that step back to force OT and then the defensive stop on the other end just shows how great of a basketball player he really is.
What were your thoughts on what JaMychal Green gave you guys tonight off the bench?
Oh man, J-Mike was huge. Without his effort, we don't win that game. I mean, just being able to space the floor and rebound was huge. Absolutely huge. He earned a game like that. He's been patient all year, so I'm really happy for him.
Klay, Steve thought that was a complete game from opening tip to the end. And what did it mean to you to see everybody play for the full 48 minutes like that, and energy and defense and big moments?
Well, I mean, we have great respect for Milwaukee. They're a championship team. They've been together for some years now. They know what it's like to play in big games. So this was obviously a huge game for us, considering where we're at in the standings and the season is dwindling down. So we all knew that going in, and we play with just a lot of great connectivity tonight. I thought we were just all on the same page as far as game plan, and I thought our energy on the bench was great, and we all had one common goal, that was to win the ball game. And when we do that, it's great.
Klay, when Steph gets going like that, what are you trying to do on the court? Are you looking to try to free him up, or are you thinking, okay, they're going to send two to him, that's going to leave me open? What's your thought process when he gets going?
Probably get out his way, set a screen for him, space the floor, go get a rebound, play some defense, just be myself. If I'm open, shoot it. If I'm not, reverse it, drive it, cut. Just still be a basketball player, and he's going to attract much more attention, so you'll have open looks if you just stay patient and ready to shoot.
Klay, during the broadcast, they showed Draymond and all of his screens. I know that doesn't show up in the box score, but what does that do for shooters like yourself and Steph? And then obviously he played through that ankle that looked pretty bad.
Yeah, Draymond and Loon are some of the best screen setters I've ever played with, and me and Steph and I are so grateful for those two. They get us open. They have been for years now, and not only great screeners, but they're great playing out the pick and roll. They're just great after setting the screen. They make the right play. And, Draymond's an amazing basketball player. Like, he might not score 30 a night, but he's a winner. He has been at every level. No matter what these jokers on television say or other players around the league, like the hardware and the resume speaks for itself, and we do not have the banners or the success we do without Draymond Green.
How much do you enjoy the Trace Thompson home run today?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, to see that at halftime and see him playing the World Baseball Classic is really special. And he has so many great years ahead of him on the diamond, and I know he's going to have a great season for the Dodgers this year.
Hey, Klay. Sorry. I'm a current student at WSU, so go Cougs for that.
That's
but
right.
Can you talk about how before the game you gifted that wheelchair, and then can you talk about that experience and then talk about how community has impacted your life and your career from WSU to now?
Well, I mean, going to school in Pullman, you know how tight-knit the community is, and you know how special a place that is when you're a Coug. It's really a family atmosphere, and I've grown up in places that were very populated my whole life, and then when I went to Pullman, that small town vibe and the community had a huge impact on me. I still keep in touch with a lot of people from the city, and just a special place. And I feel the same with being a Warrior in the Bay Area. Like, our impact goes beyond basketball, and what the Thompson Family Foundation was able to do for that young man today gives me chills. And I mean, it put everything in perspective before I ran out the tunnel, just how blessed I am to play this game and the impact I can have on the youth, and how, you never know who's watching. I mean, sometimes it feels routine when you play 82 to 100 games a year, but, it's just a special opportunity to be able to inspire people when you play in the NBA, and I'll never take that for granted. Nice. Oh, that was a beautiful one today. Wow, that was beautiful.
Nice to hear from Klay Thompson. It's kind of cool when he talks about things other than basketball, like his brother playing right now, playing baseball right now, or the kid that he got to meet with who got the wheelchair from the Thompson Family Foundation. As far as Klay's game tonight, so he started a little bit slow. I think that was impacted by his 3 early fouls. Remember, he picked up his third early in the second quarter, so I think that stunted him a little bit. But how do you think he responded toward the end of the game?
I like the word that he used, connectivity, because like you said, he had 2 first quarter fouls. He had 3 at halftime, only 4 points at halftime. But he also only had 1 more foul the rest of the game. Mm-hmm. So he stuck with it the whole time. He finished with 22 points. And that was kind of the theme of the Warriors in general, but actually the Splash Brothers in general, where they were the second half Splash Brothers when it mattered the most, right? So I really like the fact that Klay Thompson really kind of stuck it the whole way through, and you didn't see. I think that this was a game, connectivity-wise, where you didn't see these lulls with the Warriors, where you felt, okay, where's the flow? They feel a little discombobulated.
Or the scoring droughts.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have all of a sudden these 4-minute scoring droughts or anything like that. It wasn't so much of a game of runs where they're having to dig themselves out of a hole again. So this was a game that felt like a complete win finally. So a good win for Klay Thompson as well after a slow start.
Yeah, the teams built their leads in this one, but it always felt like the game was in contact. 18 lead changes, tied 12 times, this one needing overtime to settle, and that's where the Warriors were victorious. Okay, when we come back on Dubstock Live, brought to you by FitAid, we're taking the show to YouTube. We've got some comments about Draymond. We need to check in with his game, we need to check in with his health, and that will be next.
Dubs Talk Live is presented.
Are you hearing that? Yeah, were you hearing that? Okay. Hey guys, thank you for joining us on YouTube. Let us know where you're watching from. D. Owlup, the person in there saying cool shirt. It's me, Annie, J-Dub, Shannon, the usual folks, Ms. Libra in here. She goes, shout out to Draymond for playing through his injury, and she's watching from Belize. Wow. Cannot wait to have a fully healthy team. You know how long it's been?
It feels like one of those like SpongeBob things where it's like 5 million years later or whatever. Kind of thing.
Sure. So
when did this happen?
Oh God, this was actually my pregame hit. The Warriors have missed a total of 211 player games due to injuries this season, and their money starting lineup of Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond, Looney last started together on February 4th.
Yeah.
Okay, they've used 23 different starting lineups. Actually, tonight might have been the 24th, and shoot, if only I had checked that before our show. But yeah, we're just talking about a lack of consistency in the starting lineup, which I kind of hypothesized maybe had to do with some of their slow starts. Steve Kerr said, nah, it's defense. It's not personnel, it's mentality.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yes, okay, I see you guys are asking that question. Hey, Draymond, that is our very next topic. I promise we want everybody to be able to see that, so we've got to do it on the TV show. Somebody from Manila says hello. We've got another person saying cheers from Philippines. Awesome. This is really great. We also have a comment that says this should be the this should be the lineup closing games. That's very interesting. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
A tease, folks, a tease.
Ooh, hello from Vegas.
Pro's pro.
Really appreciate you guys watching. We do have a question about Andrew Wiggins. That's on our list to get to should we have time. You could follow along with some of those conversations on Twitter. I've been tweeting about that tonight. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dubstock Live, brought to you by FitAid. Something that jumped out immediately to me on this box score is Draymond Green and Kevon Looney combining for 28 boards. We should spotlight that Kevon had 7 offensive rebounds as well. But those two really gave the team more opportunities tonight. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, look at the way that Kevon just continues to fight for these kind of loose balls. He's so active with his hands. You know, it's so fun to watch him. So again, this was a gritty performance between two players who kind of fit that word to a T for the Warriors.
Yeah, can we also talk about Looney's 5 steals? That's a career high. 12 steals for the team. We could be talking about the team's defense all night, which would be a nice change of pace, actually.
Very much so.
For Draymond, though, we had a request on YouTube to make sure we talked about his injury tonight. So he rolled his ankle in the third quarter, was it? The Warriors had a 10-point lead at that point, and it was sort of the uh-oh kind of moment because the Warriors called a timeout right away. Here's video of what happened. You can see him go right past the stanchion. He's limping, and then he goes to the locker room with Dr. Rick celebrating. Now, we know Draymond came back in this game. That's excellent news. But what was going through your mind when you saw this?
No, more than just uh-oh. Again,
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a depleted team right now and another right ankle roll. I mean, we know that Jonathan Kuminga is dealing with his bizarre right ankle injury after rolling that pregame in Memphis. So especially when you don't have Andrew Wiggins, you don't have Jonathan Kuminga, you don't have Gary Payton II, Draymond is so huge no matter what. But when those three guys are down with their defense, you have to have Draymond Green on the floor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was out for the majority of the third quarter, and that's where the game could have really flipped and been uh-oh time for the Warriors. But they held their ground.
Yeah.
It still was very much, all right, what is he going to be able to give them even when he came back?
Yeah, you're talking about in such an important defensive game. Your defensive anchor leads for a while. The Warriors held that lead, and then, of course, Draymond came back and eventually played 36 minutes in this game. So 13 boards for Draymond, 9 assists as well, 5 points. So Draymond was back, like I said, to close the game, played in that OT. But it was noticeable that Steve Kerr decided to go with Donte DiVincenzo to close the game instead of Jordan Poole, and Kerr walked us through that decision. Take a listen.
Well, Donte is an excellent defender, and we felt like that gave us the best chance to win just with the threats that they have out there with Drew and Ingles and Middleton. We wanted Dante's defense out there, and that's why we went with him. And every game's a little different, but tonight was Dante's turn to finish.
So there you go. Defense, defense, defense in this game with Donte getting the nod over Jordan Poole there. I mean, I don't feel this is incredibly earth-shattering. Donte was also in the starting lineup. That's usually how you close your quarters as well. But a lot of people are pointing out that Jordan Poole has had some rough games lately, and that's fair to say. Tonight when he was shooting, 4 of 13, 4 assists but 4 turnovers. So I wonder, knowing how successful this closing lineup was, their first overtime win, in a while, if this might be something Steve Kerr goes to in the future.
It's not surprising at all, and this isn't completely new either. Even when Jordan Poole has a big scoring performance, he scored 13 points tonight. It wasn't, again, a huge scoring performance by him by any means. They still close with somebody like a Donte DiVincenzo, maybe eventually Gary Payton II, Andre Iguodala at times, more of that defensive presence. And then you can kind of go back and forth, offense, defense. But Dante's been very good offensively too. And his three-point shot has been so great this year. I mean, you're now talking about somebody in the mid-40s almost now, percentage-wise from the three-point range. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if Donte DiVincenzo closes game going forward for everything that we've talked about with DiVincenzo tonight. So I thought this was a really good start of the game for Jordan Poole. He had four assists in the first quarter, I believe, kind of under control right away, but he wasn't able to put it together for 4 full quarters, and Donte was. So you're going to go with the hot hand, number one, but also just Dante's defense. You had to have a full defensive unit on the floor right there in the fourth quarter and overtime. You know Steph's going to provide offense. You know that. You know Klay's going to too. I mean, Donte has done it as well, but you have to have defense, and that's what Donte provides. The versatility and the defense is key down the stretch.
The Warriors are in win-now mode, and whatever decisions are going to get that W in the end, especially after the Warriors are coming off of that 3-game road skid. They're back at home. They've got this national game against the #1 team. Absolutely, they're going to do everything they can to win, and the decision-making for this game was Donte is going to help them do that. So I understand where Steve Kerr was coming from. Jonathan Kuminga was at the game. He was on the bench. No walking boot. Phew. Okay, we don't know how long his ankle injury is going to last, but a boot would indicate it could be long-term. Doesn't look like that's the case.
A giant sigh of relief to see him with no boot, walking around, whether it was in the hallway, in the locker room. He looked pretty good to me, kind of thing. So Steve Kerr is calling him day to day, and his importance to this team right now is absolutely huge. Look at that right there.
I don't want to look at it, Dalton.
I know, right? Sorry. Close your eyes if you have to. Close your eyes if you have to. We can't, but you guys can. Again, Jonathan Kuminga, I've said it over and over again that the Warriors are, again, only going to go as far as their veteran stars take them. But a 20-year-old Jonathan Kuminga is huge right now for the Warriors. We don't know when Andrew Wiggins is coming back. We should get a GP2 update sometime soon. And Kuminga has been phenomenal in Wiggins' absence. In 9 games since Wiggins has been away from the team, he's averaged 14.8 points, 4 rebounds. He shot nearly 52% from the field and almost 42% from three-point range. So to lose that and still win tonight, again, another reason that this was such an important win. And yes, no walking boot. It definitely brings you a sigh of relief and more confidence that you're going to get Kuminga back sooner rather than later.
Okay, and quickly, an update on Andrew Wiggins. I don't know if this counts as an update, but reporters do ask about Andrew Wiggins. I want to make that clear, but the questions that we ask could be, is there any type of timeline? Not what's going on with his personal reasons, but Steve, is there a timeline? And Steve said the hope is that he comes back this season, but at this point, they just don't know. And Steve added, there's some things that are bigger than basketball. So that's the most recent Andrew Wiggins information that we have at the moment. All right, as we talk about this big win for the Warriors, we need to put it in context. What's the team's record? What's their schedule going forward? What do the standings say? We'll get to all of that next when Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Fit Aid, returns.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
The Warriors are 6th. Okay. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Jonathan saying, not gonna lie, Donte is nice. Yes, indeed.
That's all caps, a bunch of E's
like,
at
nice.
the end. Yeah.
There you go. Jonathan, how about another one in all caps? We coming up. That's right. I mean, the Warriors really have to feel encouraged by this win. I feel encouraged by the win, but how often have we seen the team go like this, okay?
Ooh, it's a roller coaster.
I want them to string it together. Let's see how they do against the Suns. Let's see how they do against the Suns. The home record right now, 28-7. There is something about the team at home. There is something about this building. There's something about the Chase Center fans propelling the Warriors in quarter finishes and especially in overtime. I can't describe it, but I know it exists.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ghost, Bigfoot. I can't describe it. I know it exists.
I know it exists.
Maybe I shouldn't have said it. But
UFOs, although there's creeping evidence that UFOs are a real thing. I had no idea we were talking about UFOs.
Neither did I. That's why you always watch Dubs Talk live on YouTube, too.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Howardrick says, once we get our defenders back, they'll be able to hide pool a little bit more. We had Curry in the early years. Woo! That's an assessment.
But I mean when you play alongside Andrew Wiggins, GP2,
Yeah.
now a little bit of Donte too. I
Yeah.
know Jordan is really comfortable playing with Donte and vice versa.
Yeah.
So you get those wings, you get those defensive players around him, and now just like, hey, just focus on offense and we'll be okay.
Okay. Flo, to close, let's only leave like 30 seconds if that's okay. If that gives us another Steph answer. Okay. All right, great. Okay.
Steph, we're all familiar with your two-way presence on the court every night, but can you take us into that block at the interregulation?
Just kind of a read and react type situation. Like, obviously, I'm not in that position very often to pull over, use verticality and all that, but the read and the timing was perfect, and just knowing time and score. Drew was on full head of steam downhill. I left my man in the corner hoping Klay would cover too, and again just made the right read. Like it's all basketball is at the end of the day. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. But just with the energy in the crowd and down the stretch, the run that we went on, and contribute on both ends, it was a fun way to end regulation, and then to carry that momentum into overtime was huge.
Steph, do those kind of plays mean maybe more to you sometimes because you don't do that every night? I mean, the half-court shots and the long threes, and you do those fairly regularly. So do you get a little more juiced up maybe sometimes when you deliver a block that saves a potential winning basket?
Yes, just because it's all context and like what's going on right now in our season. Everything's kind of related to what's happening now, and we need a win. We needed a win. We needed to figure out a defensive identity that would help us, and we did that a good portion of the game. Milwaukee's a great team, so they made it tough on us all night. But to your point, to hit a couple of big shots down the stretch, and then find yourself in a position where you can't make a play on the other side. I think it gives everybody a good boost because it's shocking. When I think I got more compliments about that in the locker room than any shot I made tonight, which it speaks for itself.
Can you repeat that, Flo? Hey, everybody. All right, it was a surprise to get Steph Curry. So real quick, schedule, Suns next, standings, Warriors sitting 6th. Any final thoughts after this win?
Yes, I would say tonight the Warriors fans could actually be Grizzlies fans for once because their win against the Mavs was huge. It brought the Warriors back into 6th. So again, as you look at these standings and everything, there'll be nights where Dub Nation is going, I gotta root for these teams. But yes, that's the way the standings work. It's gonna be a crazy last final month of the regular season.
Dub Nation, would we be Grizzlies fans? Would there be
for one night?
There you go. All right, so the Warriors sit in 6th. Massive win for them. 6th, of course, kind of keeps them above that play-in line. That is the point for the team as they head into the playoff stretch. Their record, 35-33. Home record, 28-7. The Chase Center crowd really propelling them to victory in this overtime win over the Bucks. Thanks for watching. Back on YouTube, Timothy is writing, "Go Warriors, I am so proud of you. It is inspirational." And there are little crying face emojis.
Wow.
That's the kind of win. You know what? Was this one of the best wins of the season? Was this the best win of the season?
I would say yes, and I think that
Yeah.
we've used the word must win a handful of times now.
Probably too many times in the regular
Probably,
season, to be honest.
But you think about coming off of that 0-3 road trip after a perfect 5-0 homestand, no Giannis, you have to win this game tonight. You're back at home without a absolute superstar, and the Bucks are deep, deep. So even without him, they're really, really good. So again, this win was huge. Now you have the Suns without KD,
Well, I was just
obviously.
saying without KD, so another superstar missing.
Yes.
And the Warriors are missing their pieces too. Like none of this is easy.
Yeah.
But
But if you have Steph Curry, you have Draymond Green, you have Klay Thompson, and that team is down their top player, you have to take advantage, especially at Chase Center. So I thought that this game turned into a must-win when Giannis wasn't able to play.
yeah, so a ripe opportunity for the Warriors to continue this momentum. We'll see if they can get that done on Monday. Thanks everybody for watching. Oh, I gotta tell you, we have Steph Curry coming up on the Dubstock podcast, okay? That's going to release very soon, right around Steph's birthday. So if you watched all the way to the end of this, you get a treat.
Yes,
Steph is
I
coming
love
up,
that.
and you get to hear about it first. Okay, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.